Any relationship to any historical fact whatsoever is entirely coincidental. So, today I want to talk about How to Train Your Dragon. No, not this one, the other one. No, not the second movie, the other one. This is a series. No, that is another series, and it looks so ugly. Pass. Not the third movie either. Next. And what the heck is this? No, thank you. And why is there two holiday specials? Next one. What do you mean there's comics of this stuff? It isn't that one either. Where the heck did I leave it? There's a graphic novel too? What? But it still isn't that. Where is it? There's even a Dragon City clone of this? Why? I'm getting impatient. Where is it? No, no, no. That looks kinda cool. No, 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 no. That's not even a dragon. No, no. Wait, I think I found it. Yes, there it is. The book of How to Train Your Dragon. How the series started. And I bet you probably never knew this is the thing that made the movie exist in the first place. The book was written by Hiccup Horrendous Haddock III and translated from Old Norse by Cressida Cowell, an English writer, in 2003. The first book out of 12 in the series. It follows Hiccup on his misadventures with his best friend Fishlegs and later Kamikaze. As you have probably noticed, the book is wildly different from the movie. Hiccup, for example, who in the movies we see become a great leader of Berk and grow to be respected by others, in the book he basically stays about the same. Well, yeah, he does become braver and less scared by the end of the series. He's still a small, skinny boy, and no one really expects him until the series is almost over. Fishlegs, who is just a supporting character, and for a lack of a better word, for a better term, fat, is one of the main characters of the book, just as skinny as Hiccup, wears glasses, and has asthma. Astrid just straight up does not exist. The closest the books have is Kamikaze, who doesn't even appear in the first book, so we're not gonna go too in depth about her. The twins, not those ones, kinda exist. They are elders of the tribe and mentioned only once. There is also this guy, I guess. Snot Loud is about the same, but doesn't become friends with Hiccup until much, much later. Stork the Vast is still vast and about the same as well. Gobber is way less of a silly guy and way scarier, being described in book 5 as a 6.5 foot tall ex-wielding lunatic who was not the kind of teacher you argue with. There is also these other characters that also do not exist in the movies, but they are barely mentioned. What else am I missing? Oh yeah, the dragons. All dragons are able to speak Dragonese, and the only one who can understand that language is Hiccup, and he is very much despised by that, because the dragons are really considered to be friends with the Vikings. Yes, all Vikings have a dragon, but they treat them more like tools than anything. You know, toothless, big, scary looking, really lovable figure of the night. He's a very small, common or guardian dragon that most of the time is just a selfish freak that just wants fish. Fishlegs also has a groundhog. Well, not here. He has a basic brown dragon called Horror Cow. Horror is there for effect, and Cow because she has spots and is not really harmful. She's Toothless' best buddy and probably a vegetarian. Snot Loud's dragon is still a red monstrous nightmare. Only real difference that her name is Fireball. She also really hates Toothless. There are also other dragons that we'll get into later. So, what even happens in this? Well, first, catch our dragon. 10 boys from the Isle of Berk about the same age stayed in the freezing cold snow, but they wouldn't be freezing if they had my merch. You barely have any subscribers, let alone things to sell them. Oh, shut up! Anyway, among them, of course, the hope and heir to the tribe of the hairy hooligans, Hiccup and his best friend Fishlegs. Gobber orders them to go get some dragons from the nest, and Hiccup has to be the leader, even though no one wants that because everyone agrees he's useless. Armed with only a mere basket to hold the biggest dangerous reptile they could fit inside, they head toward Wild Dragon Cliff, aiming to get inside the dragon nursery. After leaving, they of course don't let Hiccup be in charge, and Snotlow assumes control instead. Inside the nursery, the boys quickly scatter to find the best dragon among thousands of sleeping ones available for grabs. Hiccup, being Hiccup, grabs the most basic of basic browns, but he couldn't care less because he managed to actually get a dragon. Fishlegs, however, tries getting a cool dragon, so he won't be made fun of by Snotlout, but he grabs the bottommost dragon of a huge pile that comes crashing down and wakes up every dragon inside the cave. Run. Fishlegs ends up with no dragon at all, and Hiccup gives his to him and goes back to get another. He quickly returns, and after running for their lives, they are out of the cave, and now they have to be heroes or be exiled. The dragons will wake up in a few weeks, and the boys alone will have 4 months to train them to hunt and to fish. On the way back, Hiccup looks inside the basket and finds out his new dragon isn't anything special. It's just the most common or guardian dragon ever, and the only thing extraordinary about it is how extraordinarily small it is. But now they got other problems to deal with, like how the heck they're gonna learn how to train their dragons. Snotlout was making fun of their absurdly small reptiles, and when Hiccup's dragon yawns, everyone sees possibly the only toothless dragon in the world, and that's how he got his name. Snotlout, on the other hand, got a monstrous nightmare he named Fireworm, and even though only the son of the chief could have one, but he couldn't care less. After going to the Great Hall and discovering that the book Gobber had recommended to them to help them train their dragons had a single page with one instruction: the golden rule of dragon training is to yell at it. Hiccup feels disappointed, and he goes to have a chat with Fro Wrinkly, his grandpa. They talk about how instead of trying to yell at the dragon, Hiccup should try talking to them, because that's probably the only thing Hiccup's actually good at, is speaking the language of dragons. But meanwhile, deep in the ocean, a gigantic sea dragon, sleeping for centuries, finally wakes up, and back on land, so does Toothless. Almost as soon as he wakes up, he wants food. They take him to Stoic's room to deal with a mice problem, but Stoic enters his room only to find out his son's dragon is just a common one. Fishlegs manage to trick him into thinking it's a rare species called Toothless Daydream though. Toothless is a bit annoying though, and since Hiccup isn't exactly good at yelling, he has to train him the hard way. It didn't exactly work since he kept pooing in the kitchen instead of outside, even after Hiccup told him to poo outside countless times. Fireworm, Snotlout's dragon, of course, was making fun of Toothless. Fishlegs was better at yelling, wasn't really making any progress with the horror cow either. During training, Hiccup tries using some different methods to make Toothless obey, like fear, vanity, revenge, and silly jokes, none of which he was particularly good at, with the exception of silly jokes. That one worked pretty well to make Toothless do what Hiccup wanted him to do. That just consists of bribing Toothless to get a fish in exchange for a joke. It's also here that Toothless grows a singular tooth, with Hiccup dreaming to be called Hiccup the Useful, and his dragon Toothful. 4 months have passed, and now it's time for the big day, Thursday's Thursday. The merciless meatheads, the tribe living in a nearby island, were there too, to witness their 10 young boys go through the trial, which consists of making their flying iguanas perform basic commands, such as go, stay, and fetch, and make them catch some fish. During the fishing part, however, Toothless starts a fight with Fireworm, and that results in all 20 dragons there fighting each other. That is unacceptable, and Stoic fails them all in the test, and they are gonna be exiled by tomorrow. Toothless also loses his singular tooth. After that disastrous event, Thor is angry. The storm raged on for the whole night. By the morning, 2 gigantic sea dragons wash up on the shore. The green one, which is also the one who woke up earlier, eats the other, and now the Vikings have a problem. Stoic calls an emergency meeting in the Great Hall, and Old Wrinkly says the big dragon is a Sea Dragonus Giganticus Maximus. The only plan they have is to yell really hard at it, and even though they had 400 Vikings yelling at the top of their lungs, it of course fails. The next best plan is to talk to it, and the only one who can do that is Hiccup. And so and he alone, goes to talk with the Green Death. Hiccup tries to reason with the dragon, but the only thing he can really get out of it is that the lizard has heard his name before, and that he comes in peace. He's still gonna kill him though, and when yelling didn't work, the other 19 boys all gather around Hiccup to try and formulate a plan. After some time though, Thuggery, the son of the Meathead's chief, reveals that there's actually a second dragon on the other side of the islands, the Purple Death. That doesn't help them, because if they can make both dragons fight, the fiendishly clever plan can be executed. It consisted of making feather bombs for the dragons to carry into the nostrils of the sea dragons, as dragons are quite prone to asthma. It also involved the dragons saying things in the ears of the ginormous reptiles that mentioned how the other ginormous dragon was gonna eat them. This surprisingly works, and the battle at Death's Headlands begins. After a fierce battle, both dragons end up laying still in the water, and the boys start celebrating because the dragons are dead. But actually, Green Death's still alive and kicking, and the fiendishly clever plan goes wrong. The dragon starts searching for Hiccup, since he put him in the situation. He finds Hiccup and eats him. Now Hiccup's in the mouth of the dragon. His shirt gets stuck in the spear in the dragon's throat, and he sees what he calls the fire holes, which is where the dragon breathes fire. However, the spear is slowly bending over. It was some moments before that, though, that Toothless showed his extraordinary bravery. Toothless came together with all the adults of both tribes, just in time to see Hiccup be devoured. Something inexplicably made Toothless do it, even though dragons should show no gratitude for anyone. Toothless bravely flew into the Green Death's nostrils and started tickling him. Toothless gets scratched in the process, but is able to make the big lizard sneeze, which frees Hiccup from the dragon. Green Death tries to breathe fire, but Hiccup had stuck the horns of his Viking helmet into the fire hose of the dragon. Green Death explodes shortly after, and the day is saved. Or is it? Hiccup wakes up 2 days later and tries to find Toothless. Toothless, however, was greatly injured, and they were holding the first ever Viking funeral for a dragon. The boat with Toothless was slowly drifting away, and the flaming arrows hit the boat. But just in the nick of time, out came Toothless, flaming like a phoenix. The two heroes thought to be dead were now standing in front of hundreds of Vikings. Stoic shows up and announces that his son is now the newest member of the Hairy Hooligans, and shall be known as Hiccup the Useful. And that just about concludes the presentation. Go read the book for yourself, and thank you for watching.